Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with me as I
Bearing with you.
come in on my favorite song, my favorite intro song, Feeding the Ducks. And we use that because it's free. Okay, ladies and
Anybody
gentlemen.
want to, create a song for us? Go right ahead.
Hey, yeah, create a song
Send your demos in.
that they won't shut us down for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Originals.
Right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and family, back once again to the Abundant Way Ministries Empowerment Series. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right in today because we've got a lot to talk about. Last week, we talked about domestic violence. We are still in the month of October. Mm-hmm. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we're tying that into what our series was originally about, which is overcoming poverty, mm-hmm. stories of hope and transformation. And it really does tie in because as you know, if you go back and listen to the recordings, what we discovered in that awesome podcast interview with our special guest, Miss Melly Boo Davis, we learned that one of the reasons that some people stay in unfavorable situations much longer than they really need to is because of a feeling of dependency, mm-hmm. right? And a lot of that dependency is financial dependency, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. That's in addition to some other things. We talked about self-esteem, mm-hmm. or the lack thereof. And we talked about what you were used to seeing growing up, mm-hmm. what you were exposed to growing up and thinking that was normal. So, and that's true for a lot of us, even outside of domestic violence situations, we have dysfunctional norms, mm-hmm. right? So we talked about that. But the thing that really ties into what we're going to be talking about today is overcoming poverty. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, when we say poverty, we're not simply talking about money. Right. As we learned last week, there's a such thing as poverty of the soul, mm-hmm. poverty of the spirit, mm-hmm. poverty of the mind, poverty of the health, right? Mm-hmm. And in this case, when you don't have enough self-esteem or belief in yourself, right? There's a poverty of dependence that keeps you stuck, mm-hmm. In a bad situation. Yeah. So what we want to do today, tying it into economic empowerment, is we want to talk about entrepreneurship, watch this, as a means of hope, right? To get out of that place of dependency, mm-hmm. right? Now, this won't be the end all be all for some people, right? Because money is not always the issue. Mm-hmm. But for some, and it doesn't have to be domestic violence. It could be just you find yourself in a bad situation, period. Mm-hmm. And if you just had a few more coins, yeah. if you had a few more coins, yeah. it might make things better, yeah. right? Yeah. And so what I want to talk about today is entrepreneurship, mm-hmm. owning your own business as a tool of hope, mm-hmm. right? For those of you who feel stuck, for those of you who feel like your back is against the wall, you feel like you're in a hopeless situation because your money ain't right, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And you feel like if I only had enough money, my situation would be different. The reality is that for many of us, our salaries or our hourly wages on our job just isn't enough to buy that freedom, right? And so we have to do something extra. Remember, I talked about if you were the type of person who volunteered for the extra credit in school, this is the extra credit, right? So if you want to change your situation, you're going to have to do something extra, right? I was reading an article a couple days ago, and I didn't get a chance to read the entire article, but the headline was like the minimum salary requirement to live comfortably in the top 10 cities or states in the United States. And Atlanta was number one on that list. And they said that the minimum salary that you should make to live comfortably in Atlanta, Georgia, now is $112,000. Well, that should be your minimum income. Now, that could be a two-person income, right? It doesn't have to mean that you by yourself has to make $112,000. But if you are by yourself, if you are single, then that ought to be your minimum goal to live comfortably. Can you get by on less? Yes. You can get by on less. But when we talk about empowerment, we're not talking about living just to get by. We want you to live abundantly. That's why we're the Abundant Way Ministries. If we wanted to just talk about how to get by, we would have named this ministry the Get By Ministry, the Just Enough Ministry, the Barely Making It Ministry. Yeah. I wish I had ministry.
Okay. All right. Okay.
No, we want you to prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. And that means that we want you to live abundantly because Jesus said, I came that they might have life and have it more.
The Baptist is coming out.
Oh, yes, it is. Have it more abundantly. All right. So that's what we're talking about today. Overcoming poverty through entrepreneurship. And let me say this again as a disclaimer. Poverty is not all about money, nor is wealth all about money, right? But when we start talking about being in business, we are talking about money, because if you're not making money in your business, then you have no business being in business. You are in business to make a profit. So don't get it twisted.
What? Say that again.
If you are not making money in your business, then you have no business being in business. Okay. Because you are in business to make a profit. Okay. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen again. So don't get it twisted. Yes, this is a ministry, but we want you to look at this realistically and practically. What we're talking about today is about increasing your income so that you can move forward, so that you can get out of some bad situations, right? So that you can transform your life. You can do some things. Now, none of this stuff that we're going to talk about today is guaranteed. No. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of entrepreneurship, the good and the bad, right? So that you're well aware of what this is all about. So many people look online at YouTube and they only publish the good things. How they made it, how they made their first million. Yeah. Amen again, Robin Davis. Right. And so but we want to give you the real deal, not to scare you off. We want to encourage you, if it is God's will for you.
Right.
Because number one, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I will say this, it is not for the faint of heart. All right. If you think you have a hard time at work, this might not be for you.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're going to work harder as an entrepreneur than you will on your job. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's jump right in. One of my favorite scriptures, Deuteronomy 8:18. There's a little snippet there. Can you read that for me, please?
It is God who gives you the power to get wealth.
It is God who gives you the power to get wealth. Write that scripture down. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. One of my favorites. It really says, lest you forget. In other words, Moses is telling the children of Israel, okay, you've gotten all of this stuff. You've gotten all of this wealth. You're in a good place right now, but don't ever forget that it is God who gives you the power to get wealth, right? And so what does that mean? God gives you the power to get wealth. He gives you creativity. He gives you the idea, like not just a good idea, but he gives you a God idea. And sometimes you notice that when an idea just wakes you up out of your sleep, or you might be walking and all of a sudden an idea comes upon you and you know, oh my God, this is it. That's not just a good idea. It's a God idea. It's different than, I know some people who always say it's money. There's money in that. Oh, I got some friends who say every time you talk to them, they come up with another thing that can make some money. It's money in that. It's money in that. It's money in rent a spoons, rent a wheel, rent a rim. There's money in that. It's money in that.
Jeez.
Yeah. But there's a difference between a good idea and a God idea. You want to go with the God idea because there will be some times when you will doubt yourself. But if it's a God idea, then God will give you the inspiration to keep going in spite of the challenges and obstacles that you may see in front of you, right? So God gives you the creativity, he gives you the wisdom, and he gives you the opportunity, right? Entrepreneurship is just one way to activate that power. It is God who gives you the power to get wealth. Entrepreneurship is one way to activate that power. There's another scripture in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3 that says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will succeed, or your plans will be successful. When you set out to go into business for yourself, it says, commit your work to the Lord. In other words, whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability, right? If you're going to, and using us as an example, we're in real estate. We ought to strive to have the best real estate brokerage and the best property management company that the world has ever seen. Not just here in Atlanta. You want to do it as if you're doing it unto the Lord, right? Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will succeed. Here's the thing that I always tell people: whatever you do, be the best. And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. Again, for those who never volunteered for the extra credit, my challenge to you is, if you ever decide to go into business for yourself, go into business with the mindset that you're going to be the best at it that you can be. Be the best. Don't be mediocre, right? If that's you on your job, then you're going to have to treat it differently than you do on your job, right? Your name is on it. And if it's a God idea, then his name is on it. All right. So commit your work to the Lord. All right. So I want to start off by talking about the pros and cons. Mm-hmm. So I know you quiet right now. You think you're gonna get away with this, right? You're not gonna get away with this. There's no way you can get away with this, because almost ever since we've been married, mm-hmm. you've been an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. We got married in 2016. Yeah. And by a little nudging and a little pushing and a little whispering in your ear, in 2017, mm-hmm. you opened your property management company. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so we're talking about stories of hope and transformation. Can we tell the story of why I had you open that property management company?
Yeah. Because 2016, we got married. I had just gotten a new position at a new company, a higher position at a different company. Mm-hmm. So we thought we were going to be the next Beyonce and Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. We was going to rock the world. We was like, okay,
power couple.
We about to do this. And let's see, we got married in June. In November, mm-hmm. I got laid off. Mm-hmm. Last hired, first fired. Mm-hmm. Company restructured, whatever. And I was one of the ones to go. Mm-hmm. Then we like, oh, okay.
And then you had to go to Chicago.
Then we had a death in the family. Mm-hmm. I had to go to Chicago. I was in Chicago for almost 2 months. Mm-hmm. Let's see, December, January, February, about 3 months. Mm-hmm. I was in Chicago. So when we talk about it and we think back on it, mm-hmm. There's no way I would have been able to work, have a job, and be off for 3 months.
Right.
Because I was helping my mother at the time. So right. There's no way mm-hmm. I was going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And so God's like, okay, I'm going to remove you from this job because you've got to take care of this business over here. You got to help your mother mm-hmm. with this situation over here. But in the meantime, so after that happens, they come back home and it's like, you said, he's like, we're not going to go through this again.
No. Something else happened, remember? You had gotten another job.
I thought we did that before. We did it in 2017. I got hired after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we set up the business, right?
No. So that was at the end of 2016. You came back.
No.
You came back like January, somewhere around there. You had gotten another job.
With another company?
With another company. And then before the end of the year, you had gotten let go from that job. Mm-hmm. It was at the end of 2017 that No, we started the business, but I don't think we started working the business until 2018. Right.
We started the setup, mm-hmm. but the mindset was. No, I think you said that's the reason why we set up the business. Mm-hmm. So if this happened again, we'll be prepared. Mm-hmm. We'll be ready. It did happen again.
Right. Because now, remind me of the companies you worked for. Let me get this right. You were with Inland America.
In Chicago.
And then it became Inland Trust here, right?
Inland Trust.
Mm-hmm. You were with them.
Yeah. I left there.
You left or they let you go?
No, I left there and went to RCG.
Right.
RCG restructured. I got let go from there.
And then you went to?
Sealy.
Mm-hmm. And then didn't you get let go from Sealy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
It was twice.
And
that's when I said, no, wait up, hold up. No, we're not doing this, right? My thought was you had 20 plus years experience in property management at that time. Mm-hmm. You knew the business. Mm-hmm. Why not open up your own property management company? Mm-hmm. Right? And you're right. Mm-hmm. We opened it up, but we didn't really do anything with it.
Right.
We just got things in place. Right. And we're going to talk about getting things in place because mm-hmm. we're going to end this thing with some very practical steps on what you can do to open up your own business. But we opened up that business and just had it there because the thought was the next time somebody wants to let you go, we're going to say, let them, right? The whole idea was to gradually build that business while working. So that by the time someone lets you go again, if that happens, then at least you have it in place and generating some income, and then can just transition into putting more effort and energy into growing your business.
Yeah, that will become the full time.
Right.
And sure enough,
it happened again. And here's where we are. Here's where we are today. But see, guess what? It feels different. Now, mind you, the business is nowhere near where we really want it to be, where our vision is, right? So it's still small. It's still a small business. But here's what happened when you got let go from this job, just by having that business for the last, since 2017. So that's the last, how many years? 8 years. Yeah,
8 years.
8 years. The last 8 years, now we have a sense of hope because we know how the money flows in that business. We know how to get clients and customers in that business. We've been doing it slowly for the last 8 years, right? And so now, is there a little anxiousness, anxiety? Yeah, absolutely. But there's hope. It's different than when you have nothing. Right? So the business on the side gives you hope that you're not about to sink, you're not about to fall, you're not about to fail, you're not going under, right? All it means is now shift your efforts and your focus to your business and grow your business, right?
Yeah.
There's still hope.
Yeah. Because since not working 9 to 5, since leaving the last company, I have gained 3 clients. Yeah.
At least 3.
At least 3.
I think you always forget about Wayne.
No, I got Wayne.
Gertie.
Well, I had Gertie. Gertie came on watch. But I have Wayne, I have Candace, and I have I got another one coming on. So that's 3. So I've gained, but it's given. God does things strategically. He's very strategic because the things that I have been doing, focusing, being able to focus on the business, and the things I've been doing to focus on the business, I would not have been able to do that while working, while doing the 9 to 5. So you take the opportunity that he gives you. I know, and you have to really sit and think. It's like, okay, I'm not working. What am I don't have any money. What am I supposed to do? And it's like, I forgot all about unemployment.
So let me talk about that too, because like I said, there, if you're used to that, right? You're used to knowing what time you got to wake up in the morning to go to work, knowing what time you're gonna get off of work, knowing what day your paycheck gonna hit the account. As an entrepreneur, all that goes away.
Yeah.
Right? Also, what goes away, and I think this is probably what you struggle with a little bit, you're transitioning out of it slowly. What also goes away is knowing exactly what to do from day to day.
Yeah.
So
that can be challenging.
It's because it's a whole different mindset, right? There's no boss telling you what to do. You're the boss. You have to set your schedule, and you can't treat it like it's a vacation. It is still work. In fact, you will work harder.
You do.
You will work longer than you did at work, right? I'm going to say this. You've got to love what you do. I was on a coaching call today, and the coach, he said he was going to give us 3 principles of guaranteed success in business. My God. And he said, and these principles come out of the Bible. And he didn't even say what scripture. I just knew where he was coming from. He's coming from 2 Corinthians. I think it's 2 Corinthians chapter 13, where he's talking about love, faith, hope, and love, charity, right? He said these 3 things. He said, and the greatest of these is love. He spun that into, these are the 3 principles of guaranteed success in business: faith, hope, and love. Or was it hope, faith, and love? It's faith, hope, and love. And he just switched them around. That's what he did. He said, because as we already talked about, being an entrepreneur gives you hope, right? It gives you hope because you now know how to generate your own income. It's not dependent on somebody else giving you a job, right? Here's the other thing about hope. There's no limit on hope. There's no ceiling on hope. There's a cap to your salary. What somebody says they're going to pay you, and you sign that offer letter and you agree to that amount, they're not going above that amount. They may increase it maybe 2-3% a year if they feel like it, right? But there's a cap. Hope, there is no cap, right? Then he talked about faith, but then he said faith. He said faith actually means action. You know, faith without works is dead. It's not enough to say that faith means to believe, but faith is actually a verb. It means action. You can only see a person's faith by what they do, right? You can't tell if a person has faith or not if they're only sitting there, right? And when someone is doing something that requires a certain risk tolerance, which being an entrepreneur does, then you know that they're walking in faith, right? And he said the greatest of these is charity, which is love. Watch this. The way he spun it was, you have to love what you do. You have to love what you do, right?
That's where the passion comes in.
That's where the passion comes in. That thing is the one thing that's going to keep you going, right? Because even as an entrepreneur, you own your own business, you're your own boss. Watch this. There will be days where you will get frustrated, you will get tired, you will get discouraged, you will be disappointed. But if you love what you do, you will get up tomorrow and fight another day.
You keep going.
You'll keep going. Right?
And that's the pros and cons of entrepreneurship, because I've experienced the good and I've experienced the bad. You know, I've gained clients, I've lost clients. You know, so did it hurt? Yeah, it hurt. Was it discouraging? Absolutely it was. But it's not like but I'm not gonna let that this over here stop me. You know, I know what I can do. I love what I do, and I am determined to make it to what I want it to be. And that's the faith you have in yourself. If you don't have the faith in yourself, then how you gonna have the faith in anything, in any business? Because you're the one that's really doing all the work.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that too. So let's talk about the pros and the cons. Okay.
Well, I like this though.
What's that?
It says faith plus work equals prosperity with purpose.
That is good.
That's good.
Good. That's really good.
Faith plus work equal prosperity with purpose. Oh my.
Oh, so okay, we can hang there for a second. So I like the way it said faith plus work. So that speaks to that Bible verse. Faith without works is dead, right? when you're an entrepreneur, when you're in business for yourself, it's going to take both. It's going to take faith and it's going to take work. Let me rephrase that. It's going to take a lot of faith
a lot of work.
and a lot of work. Right? And that's the honest God truth. But what that transforms into, or the result of that, is prosperity with purpose. That's so deep because, again, we're not in business solely for the money. Right?
There's a reason.
Right? So, yes, you are in business to make a profit. If you're not making a profit, after a while, you might have to make a decision to pull the plug. The word I was looking for last week and couldn't come up with it. Cut your losses. Right? Stop the bleeding. Right? So yes, you are in business to make a profit, but when you're an entrepreneur and it's a God idea that you're working, then it's not only about the profit. It's about the profit plus the purpose. You see what I'm saying? So it's prosperity with a purpose. And that's what this is. That's what the abundant way is all about. Prosperity with a purpose. All right. All right, so let's talk about these pros and cons. We're going to go through the pros of entrepreneurship, right? Hang with us, everybody, because at the end of this, I'm going to give you the steps to start your own business if it's for you. So once we get through these cons, you're gonna decide whether or not you're cut out for this or not. Whether you're cut out for this or not. Number one, pros, freedom. As an entrepreneur, you control your own time, you make the decisions, and you control your future. You are in control. Don't nobody tell you what time to come and what time to go. Impact. Number two, build something that serves others while fulfilling a purpose. We just talked about that. Most of us on a job, we are on that job just to make a paycheck, and we're trying to make that paycheck to pay some bills. And so the transaction just becomes this revolving cycle of you give me money so I can give it to somebody else. You give me money so I can give it to somebody else. You give me money so I can give it to somebody else. And that is your existence for the rest of your life.
And actually, when we're working, we're actually working to fulfill somebody else's purpose.
And you're fulfilling somebody else's purpose. So somebody's giving you the money, and you're going to pay your bills, and that's pretty much it. And they give you just enough to get back to work next week, right? And so there's no wealth building there, right? Number three, wealth creation. Income potential is unlimited when value is created. I want to hang there for a second. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, there is no salary cap, right? It's all based on how creative you are and how hard you're willing to work, or how, I'll say, how efficient you can work, how much value you add, right? That is what determines the limit of your income potential. How much value you bring to people, right? How creative you are and how efficient you are at doing it. That's what it's, and as much as you can do these things, that determines the level of your income. There's no such thing as a cap. You've got people who are in our business making less than us, and you got people who making 100 million times more, right? Same business, real estate, right? There's no cap. It's all about what you bring to the table and your creativity. It doesn't mean that you got to be able to lift 1,000 pounds, but how creative can you get to make 1,000 pounds lift? You see what I'm saying? To get the 1,000 pounds lifted, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind, right? So there's no limit on your income potential. It is unlimited, especially when you're creating value, right? All right, here's another one, legacy. I love this one. Okay, as an entrepreneur, you're starting and owning your own business. You are now creating legacy, right? What does that mean? It means that you're creating something that you can leave behind. Watch this. You can't leave your job to your kids when you die. They can't inherit your job. When you die, they can't walk on your assembly line and start working. Yeah. They can't go and sit at your desk and start working. When you're done, you're done. Yeah. Right? Okay. But with a business, as an entrepreneur, when you build a business, you're building a legacy. You're building something that you can pass down to your children and the next generation. So the Bible says a good man shall leave an inheritance to his children's children. This is how you build generational wealth. You build something that's going to keep generating wealth generation after generation after generation. You cannot do that with a job. Impossible. Right? And the last thing is empowerment. Okay. And this again is where it kind of ties into the domestic violence piece, because it shifts you from dependency to self-sufficiency and confidence. So now you don't have to stay in an unfavorable situation because of low self-esteem or fear that you won't be able to survive without this other person and their money, right? Yeah. You now are empowered to make your own money, to generate your own income. So if the food don't want to act right, you can leave.
That's it. So true.
Right? Empowerment. Right. All right. So y'all got that. Those are the pros of entrepreneurship. Now let's talk about the cons. Okay, because I don't want you all to leave here thinking it's all good and you jump out there tomorrow talking I'm gonna quit my job. Disclaimer number 2. Right. Don't nobody go out there and quit your job tomorrow, because it takes time. It takes time. And you have to know, you got to know your numbers. You have to know when you can quit your job. Most people, or many people, I believe, they start the business, they make a couple dollars and they quit their job. But you better run your numbers. You need to know how much money your business should be generating consistently before you let the other income go. Right. If you have that luxury. Right. Some of us don't have that luxury. Like, you don't have that luxury, right? You it's right now, it's just entrepreneurship, right? For me, when I love it. For me, I still have my 9 to 5, and I'm able to do that and build a business on the side, right? It's a struggle. It's not easy. It's difficult, right? And sometimes I think, well, if I didn't have one, maybe I could build. If I didn't have a job, maybe I could build the business faster, maybe, but not necessarily the case. God's got me in this situation for a reason. He knows better, so I trust him. But believe me, I'm watching the numbers. I'm trying to put things in place that will automate certain parts of the business so that money will still come in whether I get out the bed or not. That's what you got to do, right? Let me get back to these cons. See, y'all about to get me off track. All right, because it's good, right? We know the good parts about being an entrepreneur. Let's talk about the bad parts, the cons, all right? Number 1, the top of the list is risk. Risk. If you got bad nerves, this ain't for you.
Not bad nerves.
If you got bad nerves, this ain't for you. This ain't for you, because there's risk involved being an entrepreneur, right? Your income is not guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed. It requires planning and perseverance, right? There is risk to the point not only for your income not being guaranteed, but things can go wrong. Think about us in the real estate business. Anybody could sue us at any time, right? There's risk involved. And not only are we helping other people buy and sell houses, now we're starting to build our own portfolio, which means that we have a couple of houses out there. And as long as our name is out there, there's risk involved, right? Well, we know how to mitigate those risks by buying insurance, right? But hey, those risks still exist. Number 2, responsibility. You now are accountable for everything, right? You can't go to work and blame it on your coworker and say your boss ain't doing right. He ain't treating you right, right? Yeah. You are the boss and everything is your responsibility. The success is your responsibility as well as your failures. You are accountable for it all. Number 3, uncertainty. Oh my goodness, this is a big one. Especially in the early stages. In the early days of entrepreneurship, there's nothing certain. There's nothing guaranteed, right? Things will be unstable. I will say this. I'll put the numbers out there. And I hate to do it, but I'm gonna be transparent. When we first started, so we set the property management company up in 2017 because we had the client who needed that property management help right then. I got my broker's license at the end of 2017, like literally at the end of 2017. And so I waited until January 2nd of 2018 to open up the brokerage, right? So from 2018, did okay, helping my clients buy and sell houses. It was okay, pretty good. I think I probably made about $30,000 or $50,000 and maybe $30,000 just on the side in 2018, first year. Next year, I think I made about $50,000. I'm talking about profit at the end of the day. Yeah, after taxes, 50. And then COVID hit. So 2018, 30, 2019, 50, 2020, COVID. 2020, 2021, what do you think happened?
Well, I know what happened.
You know what happened. If you didn't know me, what would you say happened?
If I didn't know you, I would say you didn't make anything.
If you didn't know me and you heard me say in 2020, COVID hit, 2021, we had to still go through COVID, that boy didn't make no money. Do you know I made $100,000 both years during COVID on the side of my job? But watch this. When COVID ended, you would have thought it went through the roof. Do you know I lost money for all 3 years after COVID? Yeah. This is the first year that I will probably make money. And it just started happening this month. Like I sold one house all year, and now all of a sudden I got 5 deals on the table. Crazy. It's unstable. My whole point is if you don't have the nerves to deal with the ups and downs, entrepreneurship ain't for you. But guess what? Because I love it. Faith, hope, and love. Watch this. Okay, uncertainty. Number 4, time investment. Oh yeah, you're going to spend way more time on your business than you do on your job. Guaranteed. I guarantee you, I'm thinking about my business in the bed. I wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm on my phone working things out in my head about my business. I'll wake you up like, what do you think about this?
Right. I'm like, what time is it?
Right. You will spend more time, and it may not be physical, it may be in your mind. But your mind is working all the time, 100% of the time. In your sleep, your mind is working and thinking about your business. Often requires long hours, personal sacrifice, especially in the beginning. right? And let me just say this about that beginning part. The way you start is not how you should end, right? No, going in, there's going to be a lot of work up front. But the goal is to build your business, what we call scale your business, grow your business to the point that it can do more without you than it can with you, right? So you want to grow yourself out of the business, right? Build it up to the point where you've got employees, people in place, systems in place, processes in place, so that you can go on vacation for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And when you come back, you should be making more money than you were when you left. You can afford to get sick. You can afford to sleep in. In the beginning, you can't afford none of that. Not as an entrepreneur. That's another con. Last con, loneliness. Now, this is the first time I've seen this one. Let me read what it says. Not everyone will understand your vision. Community and faith support are essential. That is absolutely true. Now, that's the first time I ever saw that as a con, but I know that to be true. When you start telling people about your business idea, not everyone is going to understand it, right? Not everyone is going to be able to see your vision or your dream. And so you will start to feel isolated at some times. Watch this, but isolation always comes before elevation. So when you start feeling isolated, like nobody understands what you see, get ready, because now you're getting ready to go to a whole nother level, because God will have to separate you from the crowd.
And the other part of that is that everybody's not supposed to know your vision, not supposed to know your plan. So sometimes we have to keep quiet and do things in silence. And then once the prosperity starts and once you start prospering, people will just see. And they're like, what have you been doing?
Right.
I opened up this business over here. And you get it out there.
Wait a minute. How about when you are starting your business, it's best not to tell everybody. But you have to pick your circle. You're going to have to develop your circle.
Right.
You're going to need to talk to somebody and bounce things off of somebody. What I've learned is once you get in business, you start meeting other entrepreneurs, you become a part of a whole different community. And everybody's sharing ideas and tools and help. And there's mastermind groups. You saw the Facebook post. This is the mastermind class right here. This is the master class right here. All right. So yeah, you will be separated from some old friends because not everybody's going to be able to go where you're getting ready to go.
Right.
And that's just a reality. And you got to be able to let them go. I mean, you don't have to totally disconnect yourself from your people, your community, physically, but just know mentally you're going to be on a whole nother level, on a whole nother page, and everybody can't go with you, right? They ain't going to understand. Some people right now listening to me don't even know what I'm talking about. And it's okay, right? Okay, we're almost at the end here. I want to talk about some of the myths of entrepreneurship. And here's one. It takes a lot of money to start. Okay. So truth be told, many businesses start with minimal capital and grow through resourcefulness. That's what my advice would be. Some people immediately go and say they need to raise money, they need to borrow money, they need to get business credit, and they need to get all of this money. And that's not necessarily the case. In fact, if you figure out how to start with the least amount of money and gradually grow, you may be able to grow your business organically without ever having to borrow money from anybody. And that is by far the best model, right? Because again, you've got to stay biblical. The Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender, right? And so if it doesn't mean just personal debt. If you can start your business without business debt. So don't let the world fool you by saying business credit. What they're really saying is business debt. Because the minute you borrow somebody's money, it's not credit, it's debt. Now you owe them. And that's what they want. They want you to owe them so that the minute you can't pay, they start taking what you have. All right. All right. Here's another myth. You have to quit your job first. We talked about that. The truth is, many entrepreneurs begin part-time while still employed, right? So don't listen to everybody on YouTube who say they just leaped with faith. For some people, that did happen.
They could do that.
Other people, they were forced to start their business because they didn't have a job. But if God has blessed you with a job and time to start your business, count it all joy. Come on, Baptist preacher. All right. Number 3, entrepreneurs are born, not made. No, the truth is skills, habit, and mindset can be learned and developed. So it's not that you were born an entrepreneur or born to be an entrepreneur. You have to develop the skill sets of an entrepreneur. And this is where that transformation comes into play. So entrepreneurship brings about hope and transformation. It is going to transform you. Whatever skills you didn't have before, you're going to have them by the time you finish becoming an entrepreneur, right? If you were not comfortable speaking to people, networking with people, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you're going to have to develop those skills and those habits. It is a transforming process being an entrepreneur. You're going to have to learn bookkeeping skills, accounting skills, financial management skills, how to raise money, how to be creative. You're going to have to learn all of these and develop all of these skills. It is transforming, right? It's about who are you becoming.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thought you had something.
No, I said absolutely.
All right, last one. Failure means you're not called to it. All right, that's a myth. Truth, failure is feedback. Every lesson gets you closer to success. Do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to fail. Failure is actually a good thing as long as you're learning from it and you have the will to get back up, right? I can't tell you how many times I've mentioned this before. I've started over. Think about it. I'm 24 years in the game in real estate. Do you think I haven't had to start all over? I've had houses before and I've had no houses and have houses again and had no houses and had houses again. And then over time, I'm learning where my mistakes is, why I got to keep selling these houses. Or did I sell them at the right time or the wrong time? Should I have kept that one and sold that other one? You feel what I'm saying? And so you learn from your mistakes and then you learn from other people's mistakes. And that's where that community comes in. So those are the myths.
What's the saying? Fail quick or fail fast?
Fail fast.
Fail fast.
Get out there and do it. So this is for procrastinators, people who sit back and continue to think about it and talk about it and think about it and talk about it and say what they're going to do one day, this, that, and the other. No, you got to go ahead and get started and don't be afraid to fail because then you'll fail fast and fail forward. Meaning that you're going to keep going. Yep, you're going to learn from those failures. You're going to get back, dust yourself off, brush your shoulders off, and go at it again. Learn from it, but keep it moving. All right. So we got about 6 minutes, and I'm going to skip a bunch of this stuff, and let's talk about because I think the next thing was about rewards of entrepreneurship, and I think that's probably self-explanatory based on what we've already talked about. Talked about purpose, talked about financial freedom, the community impact, faith and action, transformation. All of those are rewards of entrepreneurship. But with these last few minutes, what I want to talk about for you guys and gals is how do you get started? How do you start your own business? Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's not rocket science at all. I think I've started 4, 5. Wait a minute. I got Davis Asset. Oh, I forgot about PBS Properties that I don't have anymore. Paradigm Business Systems. PBS Properties is gone. Home Acquisition Partners. Remember that one? That came and gone. Davis Asset Realty. You got MDD Asset Management. We got Davis Asset Holdings. Is that enough? That's 6. That's 6.
Not including the Abundant Way Ministry.
Not including the Abundant Way. That's 7. And the Bible says 7 streams of income. Yes, even 8.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Even 8.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Listen, I started enough to know what I'm getting ready to tell you in the next 4 minutes. It ain't hard. And it does depend on what state you live in. The laws may be a little different, but the concept is still the same. If you're getting ready to start your own business, number one, I will say, just like we talked about earlier, is make sure it's a God idea, not just a good idea, because you'll find yourself doing something and when that you really don't want to do, and you won't realize it until times get tough. When the going gets tough, if it's just a good idea, there's money in that. You'll quit. You'll quit. Number one, make sure it's a good idea, a God idea. Now, here's the practical steps, right? You want to build some protection around yourself, right? To mitigate risks that will come. And one way of doing that is to choose a business structure. A business structure meaning, like, are you going to be a sole proprietor? Are you going to be a partnership? You're in partnership with someone? Are you going to be a limited liability company? Are you going to be a corporation, right? Within the limited liability company, there are different tax structures, like an S Corp or a C Corp, right? You need to get with, if you don't know this for yourself, you should get with an accountant or an attorney who can help you understand the implications of each one of those, right? But you want to build that legal entity structure around yourself so it separates you from the business. So if anything happens to that business, it doesn't affect your personal life, right? If you lose the business, it's okay, but you're not going to lose your home. You're not going to lose your car. You're not going to, go into unnecessary debt, right? Okay, structure. Now, what do? You want to come up with a good name, right? Your name should say something about what it is you do. This is strategic. Why? Because it's going to save you money in marketing. If you come up with a name that you have to constantly describe to people what it is in writing, those words cost. Yeah. Now, that's not the case for everything, right? Because who knew what a Yahoo was? Right. Who knew what a Google was? Right? Nobody knew what a Snapchat is. You see what I'm saying? So there are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, your name should say something about who you are and what you do, right? And then once you lock in on the name, the next thing you want to do is search that name at the state level. So you want to go to the Secretary of State, and there'll be, if you go to the Secretary of State website for your state, there will be a business name search option. You want to search that name in your state to see if anyone else has that name. You can do it for free, or there's a paid version. And the paid version often reserves the name for you. If it finds that you got a unique name and nobody else has it, you can reserve it, lock it in right now, because there's other work that you got to do. Once you get that name established at the state level, you lock your name in, nobody else has it, then you go to the IRS and register on the federal level, because nobody has your name now. Now you go to the federal. See, people oftentimes get that backwards because the hierarchy in general is federal, state, local. But when it comes to starting your business, it's state, federal, local, right? State, because that's where your name is. Once you know you own that name, then you go to the IRS and say, I want this name to be a limited liability company. Then the IRS will give you a federal tax ID number or an EIN, employer tax ID number. That is what separates you from your business, right? You have a social security number. Your business has a tax identification number or an employer identification number or that's it. EIN, FIN, same thing. It is your business's social security number. Now you are two separate entities. You've got you as a person and you've got your business as its own entity. And then finally, and this is where you just started schooling me, in most states, there's at the local level, which is your county level, you have to register your business there wherever your physical location is going to be. You have to register your business in that county. Depending on what type of business it is, you may need a professional business license. Those who don't need a professional business license, in most counties, they do still need a business license. What do I mean by professional versus business? As real estate agents, we have to have a professional license. Our real estate license, which is governed by the state of Georgia, is a professional license, right? A doctor has a professional license. A dentist has a professional license. A lawyer has a professional license. Some consultants have professional licenses, right? But if I'm just, I have a lawn service, I don't have a professional license, I may need a business license. If I own a restaurant, I don't have a professional license, but I do have a business license. And you walk into any restaurant establishment, you should see that business license for that year posted on the wall, right? And you just told me, like in Indiana, that's not the case. They don't have business licenses. That's strange.
Some depending on your business, you don't. But you're not required to have a business license. And I would just make sure they're not getting that general business license confused with a professional license. As long as that's the case. You search what your state requires for your business.
And now here's why, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing that you have to understand. At all three of those levels, the reason why is because you got to pay taxes. At all three of those levels, you got to pay federal taxes, you got to pay taxes to your state, and you got to pay taxes to your county. Right? If you don't pay those taxes, you will be out of business. So whatever you do, you better do it right. If you're not sure, you better ask somebody. ChatGPT will be your best friend to get you started. But even I have my own attorneys now. Like on the Paradigm Business Systems, I hired an attorney who does contracts for me. Like I don't have to talk to her every day because when I do talk to her, it's going to cost me about $1,000. But I got somebody to go to if I have those types of technical questions. You understand what I'm saying to you? So take it seriously. Don't just swing it. If you're serious about your business, take it seriously and do the right thing so that you can stay in business. All right. And really, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. You're set up. Federal, state, local, but start with the state first. Make sure that name is unique and nobody else has that name or something so close to it that they would get y'all confused. Once you lock that name in, get your EIN, your TIN, your business's social security number, and then you register with the county in which you are going to be located, and you are in business, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all it takes. Now, everything after that is up to you. How good you are at it, how successful you are at it, how creative you are at it. All of that is up to you. But guess what? Now that you are in business, there's still hope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:35 and
wow. Okay.
and there's so much more that I can say about what to do once you're in business, but we don't have time to go into that tonight. We may hit that next week unless God says otherwise.
Yes.
But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining, and I hope you learned something today. I hope you actually got something that you're going to put to use. Because if you feel like your back is against the wall and it's because of finances, here's a tool of hope, right? And it will cause transformation, not only in you, but through you. That's the word that I want to leave with you guys tonight. And if you don't have anything else, or do you have any final words?
No, I would just say that idea, if something is just on you heavy and you feel it and you're like, I don't know if I should be doing this, you should be doing it. That means that's coming from God. God is asking you or telling you, this is where you need to be. This is what you need to be doing.
You mean to keep itching like athlete's foot?
Yeah.
I keep bugging you. Yeah.
What he said.
Right.
But yeah, and just go into it knowing that this is what you were designed. This is your purpose. This is what you were designed to do. Mm-hmm. Don't go into it with fear, because if you do that, you're not gonna move forward.
Right. Don't just be doing something to be doing something.
Right. That don't make sense.
It should be purpose, because you don't want to find yourself putting money and effort into something that you hate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys again here next week, same time, same station. We love you, and good night.
Good night.